Hi guys, welcome back to my kitchen. So today we're going to be baking some delicious, I know I keep saying everything's delicious, but really everything I bake is delicious. Some delicious sweet potato honey cornbread muffins. Sweet potato honey cornbread muffins. I know that's a handful. So we're going to take traditional cornbread and instead make sweet potato cornbread. Honey is going to be one of our main ingredients. We're also going to brush the top with honey once they're done to just soak up all that deliciousness. And we're going to make muffins. I like making muffins because they're easy. This is going to be a delicious grab and go fall treat, or you can serve this at your traditional dinner like in Thanksgiving, and it puts a twist on the traditional and not so exciting cornbread. So of course I'm going to put the recipe in the description box along with all the ingredients. Yeah, let's get started baking. So guys, the very first thing we're going to do here is go over our ingredients. But the first ingredient that I want to go over is these sweet potatoes, because they are going to be the star of the show. Here I have 2 sweet potatoes because the recipe is going to call for mashed sweet potatoes. So we have to boil these first so that we can mash them. So before we do anything else, I'm going to go ahead and get those started and put them in the boiling pot of water that I already have going. Here's my big boiling pot of water. I'm going to drop the sweet potatoes in there and let those boil for about 20 to 30 minutes or until they're falling off the fork. So now that we have our sweet potatoes on the pot boiling, the next preliminary step we're going to do is go ahead and preheat our oven to 375 degrees and then grease our pan. So the beauty of this recipe is that you can make it in muffins, you can make it in a cast iron skillet, you can make it in traditional cornbread pans, but I prefer to make muffins. And today we're going to make muffins. So I've already sprayed a regular sized muffin pan with some nonstick pan, and I dropped some cupcake liners in mine just because I just like cupcake liners when I do muffins. I prefer that just for hygienic purposes. So I already did that. I'm going to put in the description box adjustments that you will need to make if you do decide to do bigger batches or traditional cornbread pans as opposed to the muffin tin. So let's go ahead and do those things. Now we're going to move on to our ingredients. Alright guys, so here is what we're going to need. We're going to have a cup of flour. Here we have a cup of flour. We also have a ½ cup of white sugar, a cup of yellow cornmeal, a ½ cup of whole milk, whole cow's milk. You need a teaspoon of baking powder, 1/3 cup of honey, and then we're also going to leave the honey jar to the side because we're going to use that towards the end once the muffins are done. 1 teaspoon of baking soda, a ½ teaspoon of cinnamon, 1 stick of or ½ cup of unsalted butter, and we're going to melt that down to its liquid, and then 2 eggs. Also, we have a ½ teaspoon of salt. And what belongs in this bowl is, like I said, the recipe calls for 2 cups of mashed sweet potatoes, but we have our sweet potatoes in the pot boiling. And so we're going to go ahead and get started cooking while those are boiling. So guys, the first thing we're going to do is going to mix all of our dry ingredients together. So we're going to start with our 1 cup of flour. Get all that in there. I'm going to add some cornmeal. 1 cup of that, ½ cup of sugar, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, and our ½ teaspoon of cinnamon. And we're going to mix all of that together. Oh, and let me not forget our ½ teaspoon of salt. Okay. So we're going to just mix all of our dry ingredients together. Hey guys, so I fast forward in time. The sweet potatoes are done boiling. It took around 30 minutes for them to boil. I had some really thick sweet potatoes, so it took around 30 minutes until they were totally sliding off with the fork. I put them in a bowl and let them cool and then peeled the skin off. Again, I like to boil mine with the skin on because once they're done boiling, the skin just comes off so easy. If you peel them beforehand, you're really just doing extra work for no reason. So I did that. I used a potato masher. As you can see, I still got some potatoes on there. Mashed it up really well, and then went ahead and measured out 2 cups in the dry measure and set that aside to continue our recipe. So as you can see here, I have the 2 cups of the mashed sweet potato. I'm going to add that to our flour mixture. And like I said, if you let them get to a good boil, they should be mixing really easily, really soft. And I'm just using a spoon for this just because the whisk gets a little heavy once you start adding the sweet potato in, to make sure that's in there really good. Guys, these are going to be so delicious. I'm telling you, once you're making these, they're going to be a go-to favorite recipe for you. I came across this recipe, the original recipe, on Pinterest, and I had to make some tweaks to it just after trial and error, getting a few things right so that I can get the taste of them to my liking. And so what I'm sharing with you today is actually, you know, a recipe. It's actually a recipe that I have tweaked and made multiple times, and that's how we got here. All right, so that's mixed pretty well. I'm gonna go ahead and add the egg, and I just always like to break up my egg just a little bit before I throw it in the bowl, because this always just seems like, it's just me, it's always just seems like I got some big yolk flapping around when I just add the egg. All right. So go ahead and add that egg in there, those 2 eggs. Get that mixing. This already smells delicious. It's like that cinnamon and the sweet potato has already started coming together to do what they do. To work their magic to make this deliciousness. To make their deliciousness. And it is working, honey. I smell it. It smells so good. Okay, just gonna add that butter in there. And then if you see your mixing bowl start to get like this, with stuff that's sticking to the side, go ahead and grab a half your a flattened spatula to make sure that everything is getting put in there. Make sure the size of the bowl is clean. And guys, of course, I'm gonna link all of my materials that I use in the description box below. I love KitchenAid utensils. That's what I'm using now. The rubber is so sturdy. Trust me, I'm more on the cheaper side. So when I first started really cooking, I was going to Walmart and getting utensils, and they were just so flimsy and hard to clean and really weren't getting the job done. So investing in some good kitchen utensils, they always go on sale around the holiday time, and and you can find them at Home Goods, TJ Maxx, the name brand stuff, Le Creuset, Cuisinart, KitchenAid. It's worth it. It's worth a couple of dollars. And if you go to like TJ Maxx and Marshalls, you can find it for the same price that you find the stuff at Walmart. And I know y'all gonna look at my KitchenAid like, what's going on here? I left this by the stove, and so it melted a little bit, but I still have it because the rest of it went unharmed. It's just the edge of the handle, so it's not like it's getting in any food or anything. And it still works just fine. And then lastly, I'm gonna add a half a cup of milk. Go ahead and get that in there. Oh yeah, this is gonna be so good, y'all. So let me know in the comments if you're hosting Thanksgiving this year at your house and you're watching this video because you're thinking about serving some cornbread with a twist, or you've been invited to Thanksgiving or Friendsgiving and you've been told to bring the cornbread. If you show up with this recipe, nobody's gonna hate you. I promise you that. Nobody's gonna hate you. They're gonna love it. And last but not least, we want to add our 3rd cup of honey. Yes. Come on, honey. Yes, honey. Y'all, this is going to be so good. And mix that in there. that mixed in really well. It's okay to have clumps in your batter. You just want to mix it until everything's combined because you never want to over mix your eggs. So the milk is totally in there. It's totally combined. I've scraped down all the sides. So at this point, we are ready to go ahead and put it in our muffin tins. Scoot all this over to the side. Grab our muffin tins. So remember, oops, that fell out. So remember I told you at the beginning that I like to line mine with baking cups. So I already have these little cute decorative baking cups that I got from Home Goods. I'm gonna go ahead and start filling these. And I've done this so many times, guys. When you bake a lot, you just get used to holding the bowl, working your way around the muffin tin, and dumping it in there without making too much of a mess. I keep saying that I want to invest in those mixing bowls that got the pour thing on the end, and I always forget to get them. It's just like, these work fine. So if it's not broken, don't break it. And this batter is going to make about 18 or less muffins. Usually I get around 18 to 15 of these, depending on how well I fill them. Okay. And these are a little full. So it looks like I may get 1 or 2 more out of this batter. All right. I'm gonna go ahead and pop these in the oven. So I'm gonna go ahead and put these in the oven for about 15 to 20 minutes. I've made these enough to know that they're usually good in my oven at around 17 minutes. Again, we preheat our oven at 375. Start checking your muffins at around 15 minutes. One thing you don't want to do is when you spent all this time baking is, walk away, forget about it, and you burnt all of your hard work. So it's okay if things are underdone. You can always cook them for a little while longer, but if we burn them on the first end, we can't go back. So start checking your muffin around 15 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and put these in, set a timer for around 17 minutes, and they should be good. Okay guys, so while our muffins are in the oven, we're gonna go ahead and heat up about 1 tablespoon of unsalted butter. Pop that in the microwave, and then we're gonna mix that with around 1 tablespoon of honey so that when our muffins come out, we are ready to go ahead and just brush this deliciousness right on top. This is the best part and the most delicious part. So we're gonna pop this in the microwave really quick. All right guys, so our muffins are out of the oven. Right here I have my 1 tablespoon of butter mixed with 1 tablespoon of honey. And I have a little brush. I'm just gonna mix that around. And while these things are still piping hot out the oven, and of course, always make sure you do your toothpick test. Put it in there, make sure it comes out clean, no cake batter on there, and that's how you know your muffins are ready. And just brush that on like that. And this is what's gonna make these muffins even more delicious. Just gonna brush this on top. Be generous with it. It's just gonna soak all of that up. So I'm gonna pop these out of the muffin tin, put them on the cooling rack for them to cool. Go ahead and put the rest of my batter in the oven. And hopefully by the time that's done, these should be ready for a taste bite. So the delicious honey butter has had a chance to set in, and now I'm just gonna do a little taste of this muffin. And it smells so good. Every time. On point every time. So guys, let me know in the comments how you enjoyed this recipe. Again, don't be afraid to show up to Thanksgiving or Friendsgiving with these sweet potato honey cornbread muffins. Again, I promise nobody's gonna be mad at you. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel for more videos. Bye.